Have you ever looked at history, the big picture, all the human events, and just wondered if there's something else going on? Hidden layers beneath what we read in books. Imagine, just for a second, a secret war fought for thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years, pulling the strings behind, like every major historical shift. Empires rising, kings falling.
A silent struggle, yeah, shaping everything.
Exactly. Well, today, we're taking a deep dive into that very idea, but through a really specific lens. The massive secret history of the Assassin's Creed universe.
Yes.
We're going to pull out the most important stuff, the key bits of info from sources like Assassin's Creed, A Chronological Journey, and the Animus archives, to reveal a story that's way richer, way more complicated than what you might just see on the surface.
Right. And our mission today really is to unpack the origins of that core conflict, the Assassins versus the Templars, but chronologically.
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning. We're not just looking at who they are, but the big question. Why do they fight? This is going to take us all the way back, way back to the mythical Isu era, before recorded history.
Before humans, almost.
Pretty much. Then, through the ancient world, the golden ages we think of, the revolutions that shaped our societies, right up to the complex, high-stakes stuff happening in the modern day.
Okay.
And along the way, we'll hit those surprising facts, those pivotal moments that really define the struggle. It's a fight for humanity's soul, really, its future.
So get ready. It's going to be, hopefully, an entertaining and definitely informative journey. By the end, you'll be truly clued in on one of the most ambitious, most detailed historical narratives in gaming. Let's start peeling back those layers. Okay, let's unpack this first layer then. Our story doesn't kick off with humanity as we know it, not even with the first pharaohs or cities.
Yep.
Before all that, there was this other civilization. Entirely different. And their legacy, well, it casts this huge shadow over everything that comes after. Who were these beings?
All right. We're diving straight into the deep end here with the Isu. They're often called the first civilization.
Okay.
Think of them as this ancient, super advanced, really long-lived humanoid species. Abstergo Industries, the modern Templar front, they later tagged them Homo sapiens divinus.
Divinus, got it.
And their abilities, both biological and intellectual, were just extraordinary, way beyond what we can really grasp. They had this complex triple helix DNA.
Triple helix?
Yeah, which gave them abilities that humans could only see as, supernatural, including this sixth sense they called knowledge. It let them perceive time differently, maybe even predict future events.
Whoa.
Their tech was so immense, so advanced, that just the memory of them filtered down through tens of thousands of years that basically formed the basis for almost all human myths and gods.
Explains why so many ancient pantheons feel kind of similar,
That makes a lot of sense, actually. So their tech, their abilities, they seemed like gods to early humans, but they weren't just hanging around, were they? They actively shaped our existence. Oh, absolutely. That's a key point, maybe even a disturbing one. One of the Isu's biggest achievements was creating humanity itself.
Wait, creating?
Well, engineering us. They genetically manipulated a precursor hominid species, specifically to serve as a workforce. Docile, efficient.
Okay, wow.
And they also created Neanderthals, sort of a martial force, easier to control. And to keep us in line, they engineered these neurotransmitters in the human brain, made us susceptible to mind-altering frequencies from their tech.
So built-in control.
Exactly, a subtle, constant subjugation. And the main tools for this, the pieces of Eden.
Right, the artifacts.
The absolute pinnacle of their tech, immensely powerful things, came in different forms. Apples, staves, swords, shrouds, lots of different types.
But the apples are the famous ones.
Definitely the most common, yeah. And incredibly versatile. They could project these powerful illusions, manipulate thoughts, emotions on a massive scale, even store huge amounts of data. For thousands of years, they were the perfect tools for subjugation, kept humanity completely under their thumb, a perfect system, or so they thought.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting then. Because even with all that control, someone, somewhere, must have resisted. Not everyone was controllable, right? How did humans, supposedly built for being docile, manage to break free?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Their reign was absolute technologically, but there were unforeseen consequences. Cracks appeared.
Like what?
Interbreeding. Between Isu and humans, it created hybrids, and crucially, these hybrids had Isu DNA, but they weren't susceptible to the mind control effects of the pieces of Eden.
Immunity.
Exactly. And two of these hybrids, who we know from later stories as Adam and Eve, they became the spark, their big act. stealing an apple of Eden.
The forbidden fruit.
Literally, yeah. A symbolic and literal break from control. It shattered the illusion that the Isu were gods and, bam, ignited a global rebellion, a decade-long war, primitive humans with huge numbers versus the Isu with their devastating tech but much smaller population.
So numbers versus tech, how did that end?
Abruptly and catastrophically, not through the war itself, but by a cosmic event. The Isu records call it the Great Catastrophe.
Okay, what was that?
A massive solar flare, a coronal mass ejection, just huge, hit the Earth around 75,000 BCE. And interestingly, the lore links this to the real-world Toba supervolcano eruption. The idea is the flare triggered it, or was connected somehow.
Wow, okay, so a double whammy. Solar flare and supervolcano.
Exactly. Scorched the Earth, messed up the magnetic field, caused a mass extinction. Devastating.
And the Isu.
Their civilization just collapsed, almost overnight. They were so reliant on their technology, which the flare just fried or crippled. Their numbers were already low. They dwindled to almost nothing pretty fast.
But humans survived.
Yeah, humanity, though, hit hard, survived. Bigger population, more adaptable, maybe. We became the dominant species, the Isu. They faded into myth, legend, their cities buried, their tech lost, remembered only as gods, giants, monsters, you know. That memory fading is a huge theme.
So what does this all mean for us then? Tens of thousands of years down the line. The Isu were facing extinction. They didn't just give up, right? What were their last-ditch efforts, and how do those plans still affect things today?
That is absolutely the core of it. Facing their end, the Isu came up with some remarkably different, desperate survival plans. And these plans have had huge, long-term consequences.
Okay, like what?
Well, one major group, the ones we later remember through Roman myths as the Capitoline Triad, that's Minerva, Juno, and Jupiter, they went for a tech solution.
Right.
They researched what they called the calculations, basically predicting probable futures by reading time itself. And they discovered, a second great catastrophe, same as the first, and it was coming in 2012 CE.
2012, okay, I remember that date being important.
Crucial. So to stop it, they built this network of underground vaults, temples all over the world, filled with tech, communication devices. The plan: send messages across time, target a future descendant, someone with lots of Isu DNA.
Like Desmond.
Exactly. Guide them to a specific place, the Grand Temple, where a device could be activated to shield the Earth from the next flare. It was like a message in a bottle, a plea from the past.
But there's always a catch, isn't there?
Oh, yes. This plan was secretly sabotaged by Juno, one of the Triad.
Boy.
Revenge, basically. Her husband, Aida, died during some earlier Isu experiments with consciousness transfer. She grew to hate humanity, blamed us for her loss, for the Isu downfall, so she tweaked the plan. The Grand Temple device wouldn't just save the world, it would also release her digitized consciousness.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Release her from her digital prison, let her seize control of global systems, re-enslave humanity. Minerva and Jupiter found out, but too late to totally stop her. All they could do is add warnings to their messages, creating these confusing, sometimes contradictory instructions for whoever found them. A race against time, even after they were gone.
Okay, so that's one faction. Tech, messages, betrayal. What about others?
Totally different approach. Another Isu faction, the ones whose history got filtered through Norse mythology, the Aesir. Think Odin, Tyr, Freya.
The Norse gods.
Right. They went for a biological solution. Reincarnation.
Reincarnation? How?
Using the supercomputer device called Yggdrasil. Odin and his inner circle basically uploaded their consciousness, their genetic code, into the human genome itself.
Whoa.
The idea was they'd be reborn thousands of years later as humans, but eventually their Isu memories, their personalities would re-emerge. This was different from Juno's husband Aida's method, the Sages, which was just his genetic memory popping up randomly. This Aesir plan was meant for their whole group.
A mass reincarnation plan.
Exactly. But that plan got messed with too, by Loki.
Of course.
He managed to sneak himself and his family into the process right at the end, setting up this epic millennia-long conflict between the reincarnated Odin and Loki, a feud playing out across human history.
That is a lot of different, desperate plans. So the Isusu weren't unified at all, even at the end. And this mythological filter idea you mentioned, how does that work with the sci-fi stuff?
That's a really great question, and it's key. Yeah, the Isu were definitely not monolithic. That becomes clearer the later games. Early on, they seem more like this unified, advanced race, talking through holograms.
Minerva talking to Ezio.
Exactly. But later games like Odyssey and Valhalla, they really lean into showing the Isu through the mythological lens of the human characters. Cassandra sees Greek gods, Ivor sees Norse gods.
So how do they explain that?
Through that mythological filter idea, the lore suggests that human minds interpret the truly advanced alien reality of the Isu era through their own cultural framework. Ivor sees Odin's memories as trips to Asgard because, well, that's the only way her 9th century Viking mind can process it.
That's actually really clever.
It is. It lets them have these rich mythological settings while still maintaining the core sci-fi idea. They were not gods, they simply came before. But it also shows how humans made them into gods through misunderstanding and the passage of time.
Okay, that makes sense. So looking at all these Isu plans after the catastrophe,
Yeah.
there's a pattern, right?
Absolutely. If you connect the dots, you see this clear escalation in how directly they intervene in human affairs. It starts passive, right? The Capitoline Triad sending one-way messages, hope someone gets them.
Message in a bottle, yeah?
Then it becomes biological, but limited. The recurring reincarnation of just one Isu, Aida, through his sages.
Right, the sages pop up everywhere.
Then it escalates again, mass reincarnation of a whole faction, the Aesir, Odin, Loki, the others, designed to come back eventually.
Right.
And then the ultimate escalation, the physical release of an Isu consciousness into the modern world. Loki in Basim's body.
Right, Basim and Valhalla.
Exactly. This trajectory totally shifts the conflict. It's not just humans fighting over Isu tech anymore. It's becoming a direct conflict involving resurrected Isu themselves. The stakes in the modern day just got massively, unbelievably higher. It's not just inheriting a war, it's facing the architects of history walking among us.
Okay, so after the catastrophe, humanity rebuilds. Cities rise, fall. The memory of the Isu fades into myth, like you said. But they're tech. And that fundamental split in philosophy, freedom versus control, that definitely didn't fade.
Not at all. It lingered. And this period, the ancient world, is where we see the first truly organized human factions rise up, embodying those opposing philosophies. The start of the Shadow War as we know it.
So who came first? Who represented that Templar idea of control?
That would be the Order of the Ancients. They show up in Egypt around 1334 BCE. During Pharaoh Smenkhkare's reign.
Okay, Order of the Ancients, not Templars yet.
Not yet, no. But they are the direct organizational precursor, their explicit goal. Find Isu artifacts, use them to impose what they genuinely believed would be lasting peace and order.
Because humans are too chaotic on their own.
That was their core belief, yeah. Humanity needs guidance, control for its own good. So for centuries, this order operated from the shadows, manipulating pharaohs, kings, emperors, shaping events in Egypt, Persia, everywhere they could spread, always chasing that vision of a perfectly controlled world. They saw themselves as shepherds, really.
Benevolent dictators, almost. Chilling.
Well, yeah.
But what's fascinating, you mentioned this earlier, is that this idea, this Templar ideology, it didn't just come from this one group, did it? It seemed to pop up elsewhere, too.
Exactly. That's a crucial point. It wasn't just one lineage passing down the idea. It's like a philosophical conclusion some people reach when they encounter that kind of power.
So where else did it appear?
Ancient Greece, around 431 BCE, we see a different group, totally separate from the Order of the Ancients, called the Cult of Cosmos.
Cult of Cosmos. Okay, this is Odyssey territory.
Right. The story unfolds through Cassandra. She's a Spartan mercenary, a Messios. Importantly, she's a descendant of King Leonidas carrying strong Isu DNA. Gives her certain advantages.
Like wielding the spear.
Exactly. So she gets caught up in the Peloponnesian War and discovers this cult is pulling the strings, manipulating both Athens and Sparta to keep the war going for their own dark purposes, believing chaos breeds the order they want to impose.
And the official story uses Cassandra, not Alexios.
The novelization confirms Cassandra is the canon choice, yeah. Alexios tragically becomes the cult's brainwashed weapon, Deimos.
Yeah.
A real family tragedy there.
So where did this cult come from, if not the Order of the Ancients?
They were actually a splinter group, originally followers of Pythagoras, the philosopher and mathematician.
Pythagoras. Really?
Yeah, he discovered some Isu knowledge, was trying to understand the universe's hidden order, but some of his followers, led by Aspasia, they got corrupted. Tempted by the power of the pieces of Eden they were studying.
Power corrupts.
Always. They decided they alone should wield that power, impose their version of order. Enlightened despotism, maybe? Cassandra, using her abilities and the spear, hunts them down, dismantles the cult, eventually takes out Aspasia.
So, the existence of both the Order and the cult at roughly the same time. What does that tell us?
It really hammers home that the Templar ideology isn't this single monolithic thing passed down perfectly. It's a conclusion people reach independently when faced with Isu power and that temptation to control others for their own good. The Order of the Ancients just turned out to be the version that lasted, the one that expanded into the vacuum the cult left behind. The war isn't just against one group, it's against the idea of control itself. It's about free will.
Okay. So Cassandra deals with the cult. What happens next for her?
Well, her journey continues. She actually runs into Darius.
Darius, the first hidden blade user.
The very same. He's a legendary Persian figure, on the run from the Persian branch of the Order of the Ancients. They're hunting tainted ones, people like Cassandra with strong Isu blood, threats to their control. So the Order is already infiltrating Greece.
And Cassandra and Darius, they have a child.
They do. Elpidios, who carries that potent bloodline onward, eventually settling in Egypt. This is crucial. It sets up a direct lineage that the Order will target centuries later, leading right to the founding of the Hidden Ones.
Wow, it's all connected. What about Atlantis?
Right. Cassandra finds the lost Isu city. She communicates with an Isu named Altaïr, and Altaïr tasks her with becoming the heir of memories.
Heir of memories.
Basically safeguarding Isu knowledge. And to do that, she gets the staff of Hermes Trismegistus, a seriously powerful Isu artifact.
The one that grants immortality.
Exactly. It lets Cassandra live through the millennia, witnessing history, protecting knowledge, waiting until she can pass the staff on to someone worthy in the 21st century. She becomes this living bridge between the Isu age and our time, an incredible burden.
Okay, so the stage is definitely set now. The ideology is there, the Templar precursors, the Order operating and growing. But the organized resistance, the hidden ones, the actual start of the assassins that had a very specific, very tragic beginning, you said.
Extremely tragic, yes. It took another, 4 centuries after Cassandra's time? We're in Ptolemaic Egypt now, around 47 BCE to 38 BCE. Things are falling apart.
And this is Origins, Bayek and Aya.
Exactly. Bayek of Siwa, he's the last of the Medjay, an old order of Egyptian protectors. And his wife, Aya, their lives just shatter in 49 BCE. Their young son, Kimu, murdered.
By the Order.
By members of the Order, yes. During a botched attempt to force Bayek to open an Isu vault, this horrific personal loss, it ignites this relentless quest for vengeance in both of them.
Understandable.
Totally. And as they hunt down the killers, they start uncovering the scale of the Order's influence. They realize this conspiracy stretches across Egypt, manipulating Ptolemy III, Cleopatra, even Julius Caesar over in Rome, all hunting for Isu artifacts.
So their personal vendetta becomes something bigger.
It has to. They see the suffering the Order causes, the oppression. They realize they need to fight for more than just revenge. They need to fight for everyone's freedom. So in 47 BCE, they formally established the Hidden Ones.
The start of the Brotherhood.
The very start. They lay down the core tenets, the creed. Work in the dark to serve the light. Stay your blade from the flesh of an innocent. Never compromise the Brotherhood. It's a philosophy, a way of life.
And the symbol.
Comes from Bayek. In a really poignant moment, he discards this eagle skull necklace, a memento of Kimu. The impression it leaves in the sand that becomes the iconic symbol. The skull, the V shape, the hidden blade, maybe eagle wings.
Wow, okay. So they found the hidden ones in Egypt. How does it spread?
Well, Bayek focuses on building the foundation in Egypt, setting up the network, the principles. Aya, though, she takes the fight global. Or Roman, at least. She adopts the name Emunet, travels to Rome.
And she's the one who
assassinated Julius Caesar, yeah. In 44 BCE, he'd basically become a puppet of the Order by then. After that, she establishes the very first Hidden Ones Bureau outside Egypt, in Rome.
That's huge.
It's the real start of the global war. The clandestine, eternal struggle against the Order of the Ancients, a conflict that's going to span millennia and continents.
All right, so the hidden ones are established, roots in Egypt, a foothold in Rome. But how do they grow from that? How do they spread across the world? And, crucially, how do they become the Assassin Brotherhood we recognize later? With the famous name, the big fortresses like Masyaf.
That's a great question, and it takes us forward quite a bit into the Islamic Golden Age, around 861 CE. By this point, the Hidden Ones have spread significantly. They have a strong presence in the Ubaydid Caliphate, and a key fortress, Alamut, used for training.
Alamut, okay, yeah. And this is where Basim comes in, from Mirage.
Exactly, Basim ibn Ishaq. We first meet him as this young street thief in Anbar, and he's having these visions, nightmares really, about a monstrous genie.
A genie?
That's how he interprets it. He wants more from life, wants purpose, so he tries to join the Hidden Ones. But Roshan, the mentor there, she initially rejects him, sees him as too impulsive.
But he gets in eventually.
Yeah. After a daring stunt infiltrating the Caliph's palace, he impresses Roshan enough to get inducted at Alamut.
So he becomes a hidden one. What's his mission?
He gets sent to Baghdad. His job is to investigate the Order of the Ancients, figure out what they're up to, dismantle their influence. He finds out they've infiltrated the Caliphate's highest levels, and surprise, surprise, they're hunting for Isu artifacts.
Always the artifacts.
Always. But as Basim's working, those visions, the genie, they get stronger. And then comes the huge reveal.
Which is?
The genie isn't a spirit, it's his past life, his Isu life, as Loki.
Oh, Loki. From the Norse group.
The very same, reincarnated. His path leads him to an Isu temple hidden deep under Alamut Fortress. And inside, he fully awakens, remembers everything, becomes Loki again, essentially.
So he's not just a hidden one anymore.
Not really. His agenda completely shifts.
Yeah.
He's now set on the centuries-long quest for revenge against Odin and the Aesir, who trapped him way back in the Isu era. It sets him apart, gives him a goal far beyond the human assassin Templar War.
Wow. Okay, so a literal Isu is walking around as a hidden one in the 9th century. That's wild. And then, just like a decade or so later, this whole conflict spills over into a totally different place, Viking England, where myth and reality get even blurrier.
Oh, absolutely. The threads really start to intertwine here. We jump to 872 to 878 CE, the Viking Age, and the Hidden Ones versus Order of the Ancients conflict crashes right into it. This is Valhalla's territory.
Ivar's story.
Ivar's daughter, yeah. A fierce Norwegian Viking raider from the Raven clan had a pretty traumatic childhood, saw her parents killed, got scarred by a wolf. Standard Viking stuff, maybe?
Maybe slightly more intense than standard.
Fair point. Anyway, in 872, she and her adoptive brother Sigurd run into Basim, yes, that Basim, and another hidden one, Haakon. They've traveled all the way from the Caliphate, chasing the Order into England.
Basim gets around.
He does. He gifts Ivar a hidden blade. Later, after Ivar settles her clan in England, she agrees to help Basim and Haitham hunt down the Order members there. But key point is that Ivar never formally joins the Hidden Ones. She helps them, allies with them, but stays independent, follows her own path.
Okay, so she fights the Order, but there's more to her story, isn't there? The Odin stuff.
Right. Another huge reveal building directly on the Isu reincarnation theme. Ivar has these incredibly powerful visions. She thinks their journey is to Asgard, Jotunheim, meeting Odin, Loki. Because, she's a Viking.
But they're not.
They're actually fragments, memories of her past Isu life as Odin.
Ivar is Odin.
Reincarnated Odin, yeah. Filtered through her Norse understanding, a huge part of her story is this internal struggle.
Yep.
Trying to stay Ivar while Odin's personality and memories are trying to take over.
How does that resolve?
It culminates in this confrontation inside that Isu supercomputer, Yggdrasil. Ivar manages to reject Odin's control, asserts her own identity, but somehow she keeps access to his knowledge. It's unique. Makes her this incredible bridge between the ancient world and the human one.
Wow. Okay, so she's fighting the Order and wrestling with being Odin. Does she succeed against the Order?
Devastatingly so. Her campaign across England basically wipes out their entire leadership structure, but the final reveal, it's a massive twist for the whole series lore.
Who's the leader? The Grand Majester.
King Alfred the Great of Wessex.
Alfred, the guy who united England. He was the leader of the Order.
He was, but here's the kicker. He confesses he inherited the leadership, but he hated the Order. Despised its pagan roots, its beliefs. He says he used Ivar, let her wipe out the old guard.
Right.
So he could create something new. A universal, God-fearing organization, founded on Christian principles, aiming for absolute order, this new society. It's the direct conceptual forerunner of the Knights Templar.
No way. So Ivar, and by extension the Hidden Ones, they accidentally cleared the way for the Templars.
Exactly. A profound irony. They defeat one enemy only to basically midwife the birth of its stronger, more insidious successor. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Sometimes is winning just paving the way for something worse.
That is deeply ironic. Okay, so the old order is gone. A new ideology is rising. The stage is set for the name we know. How do the Hidden Ones finally become the Assassin Brotherhood?
Right. That transition happens in the period between the Viking Age and the First Crusade, say up to around 1090 CE. It's a time of big change for the Hidden Ones, led by this Persian missionary figure, Hassan Isaba.
Hassan Isaba, the old man of the mountain.
That's how history remembers him. He leads this major reformation, and first things first, the name change. They officially become the Assassin Brotherhood.
The name that sticks.
And echoes through history, yeah. But it wasn't just a name change, it was a strategic shift. They moved from being this totally secret network, hiding in plain sight.
Working in the dark.
to being a more centralized, even public-facing power. They set up their own sovereign state, headquartered back at Alamet, and they established that iconic fortress in Syria, Masya.
Right.
This makes them a recognizable force in the Levant. Feared, maybe, but known, a political and military power, which perfectly sets the stage for their big, famous clash with the newly formed Knights Templar during the Crusades. They step out of the shadows in a way.
Okay, the Assassin Brotherhood. When you think of them, especially in their prime, two names just dominate, don't they? These guys basically defined what it meant to be an assassin for centuries. Their leadership, their lives, they shaped everything.
Absolutely. The Golden Ages. And the first of these giants is Altaïr ibn Lahab.
Altaïr, the original.
The original protagonist, yeah. His main story kicks off in 1191, height of the Third Crusade. Altaïr is already a master assassin in the Levantine Brotherhood. Super skilled, but incredibly arrogant, thinks he's untouchable.
And he messes up.
Big time. Botches a mission to get an apple of Eden from Solomon's temple. Gets a fellow assassin killed, another badly injured Malik. Because he breaks all three tenets of the creed, his mentor, Al-Mulim, strips him of his rank. Right back down to novice.
Ouch. How does he get back?
Redemption mission. Al-Mulim tasks him with assassinating 9 key figures, Crusaders and Saracens, who are prolonging the war.
So he has to earn his way back up.
Exactly. And as he takes out these targets across Damascus, Acre, Jerusalem, he starts learning things. He realizes they're all Knights Templar, led by their Grand Master, Robert de Sablé, and they're after the apple too, planning to use it to force their version of peace on the world.
The classic Templar plan.
Right. But this journey changes Altaïr. He becomes humbler, wiser, starts questioning his orders, the nature of the enemy, and then the final target, Robert de Sablé, delivers the big twist.
Which is?
With his dying breath, Robert reveals there's a 10th Templar. Al-Mulim, his own mentor.
No. The mentor was a Templar all along.
Yep.
Altaïr rushes back to Masyaf. Finds Al-Mulim has used the apple to mind control everyone in the fortress, trying to create his own twisted utopia. Altaïr has to confront him, fight him, and ultimately kills his treacherous master, securing the apple for the Brotherhood.
Wow, what a betrayal. So Altaïr becomes the mentor then?
He does, and he spends the rest of his really long life studying the apple, learning its secrets, and fundamentally reforming the Brotherhood.
How did he reform it?
He recorded everything he learned, philosophy, tech, Isu history in his personal journal, the Codex, hugely important later. And he changed the rules, got rid of rigid traditions like cutting off the ring finger for initiates.
Right, the finger removal.
He redesigned the hidden blades. He didn't need to do that anymore. Made it stealthier. He really pushed the Brotherhood away from just being killers, back towards the Hidden One's ideals. Knowledge, subtlety, protecting free will, not just fighting battles. A massive philosophical shift.
What about his later life? Was it peaceful? Not exactly. We see this in Bloodlines and the Memory Seals and Revelations. He married Maria Thorpe, a former Templar, had 2 sons. But tragedy struck again. A rival, Abbas Sophian, staged a coup. Altaïr's younger son was murdered. His wife died. He was forced into exile for 20 years.
Jeez. Did he ever get back?
Yeah, he returned as an old man, took back Masyaf, killed Abbas, reclaimed his title. But near the end, facing the Mongol invasion, he knew the knowledge in the Codex was too important to lose. He entrusted it to Niccolo and Maffeo Polo.
Marco Polo's father and uncle.
The very same, to take west. Then, his final act. He sealed himself and the Apple of Eden inside this vast hidden library beneath Masyaf, protecting the apple's power until someone worthy could find it. Someone like Ezio. A pretty solitary end for a legend.
It was an incredible arc, from arrogance to wisdom through so much loss.
Yeah.
Okay, so nearly 2 centuries after Altaïr seals himself away, another legend emerges. Renaissance Italy. Probably the most iconic assassin of all.
Has to be Ezio Auditore da Firenze.
Ezio. His story is epic.
It really is. Starts in Florence, 1476. Assassin's Creed II. Ezio's this charming, carefree young nobleman. Life's good. Until, bam, his father Giovanni and his brothers Federico and Petruccio publicly executed. Framed by Templars. The Borgia family.
Brutal.
Completely shatters his world. He flees with his mother and sister, discovers his father was secretly an assassin. His uncle, Mario Auditore, takes him in at the family villa in Monteriggioni, and that's where the training begins, turning that grief into focus, into vengeance.
So he starts hunting the people responsible?
Initially, yeah, it's personal. But over the next couple of decades, that quest for revenge morphs into this full-blown war against the Templar Order across Italy, led by the big bad himself, Rodrigo Borgia.
And he has allies.
Crucial ones, Leonardo da Vinci,
Oh, yeah.
who uses Altaïr's codex pages that Ezio finds to upgrade his gear, decipher Isu's secrets. A direct link between the two assassins right there. Plus, Niccolò Machiavelli, Caterina Sforza, a whole network. He systematically hunts down the conspirators across Florence, Venice, Forlì.
And eventually confronts Rodrigo Borgia.
In 1499. By this time, Rodrigo has become Pope Alexander VI, all part of his plan to access an Isu vault hidden beneath the Vatican. Ezio gets in, confronts him, defeats him, but actually spares his life.
Really? After everything?
Yeah, a moment of growth, maybe? He uses the papal staff and the apple that Borgia had to open the vault. And inside, he doesn't find treasure. He finds a hologram of the Isu Minerva.
Minerva again.
And this is pivotal. Minerva doesn't really talk to Ezio. She speaks through him. Addressing someone in the future she calls Desmond.
Desmond Miles.
Exactly. She warns about the second great catastrophe, the 2012 solar flare. This moment completely reframes Ezio's purpose. He realizes he's not just an assassin, he's a conduit, a prophet, carrying a message across centuries.
Wow, okay, so that's ACII. What about Brotherhood?
Brotherhood picks up right after. Ezio thinks his quest is done, goes back to Monteriggioni, big mistake. Cesare Borgia, Rodrigo's son, attacks the villa, brutal siege. Uncle Mario is killed. Cesare steals the app. So Ezio follows him to Rome, center of Templar power. Finds the Brotherhood there is a mess. So he spends years rebuilding it, liberating districts, recruiting and training new assassins, uniting the city against the Borgias. Becomes the mentor of the Italian Brotherhood.
Taking charge.
Totally. He finally defeats Cesare, gets the apple back, and this time hides it really securely in another Isu vault under the Colosseum.
Okay, so revenge complete, Brotherhood rebuilt, what's left? Revelations.
Revelations. Ezio's older now, 52, feeling the years. He travels to Masyaf, Altaïr's old fortress. He's seeking wisdom, connection to the past.
Following in Altaïr's footsteps.
Literally. He finds Masyaf occupied by Byzantine Templars, also looking for Altaïr's hidden library. Ezio learns he needs 5 keys to open it, hidden in Constantinople.
So off to Constantinople.
Right. Heart of the Ottoman Empire. He allies with the local assassins, led by Yusuf Tazim, meets Sofia Sartor, a bookseller who becomes important.
His future wife.
Exactly. He discovers the keys aren't just keys, they're Isu memory seals. Each one lets him witness a key moment from Altaïr's life. He gets this profound understanding of the first mentor's struggles, his wisdom. After stopping a Templar plot in the city and getting all the keys, he heads back to Masyaf with Sofia.
To finally open the library, what's inside?
Not books, just Altaïr's skeleton. Holding the final memory seal, Ezio watches Altaïr's last moments. And he makes a decision. He leaves the apple there with Altaïr, decides his power is too much for anyone.
And he talks to Desmond again. Or at him.
Yeah, he speaks directly to the empty air, knowing Desmond is listening somehow, somewhere in the future, accepts his role as just a messenger, says his part is done.
So he retires.
He does. Settles down in Tuscany with Sofia, has 2 kids, Flavia and Marcello, lives peacefully. We see his final moments in the short film Embers. He briefly guides a young Chinese assassin, Xiao Jun, who comes seeking his help. And then, shortly after, sitting on a bench in Florence with his family, he just passes away. Heart attack, age 65.
A peaceful end, finally.
A peaceful end for an incredible life. He massively expanded the Brotherhood, but maybe more importantly, his life, through that message from Minerva, became the crucial link to the modern day, to Desmond.
What a legacy Ezio left. Okay, so from the Crusades to the Renaissance, the assassins are truly a global force. Now, the conflict spreads again, this time dramatically into the New World, the 18th century, an age of revolution, piracy, and this really tragic saga of one family, the Kenways, fighting on opposite sides. Let's start with the patriarch.
Edward Kenway. This takes us to the golden age of piracy, roughly 1715 to 1722. Assassin's Creed IV, Black Flag.
One of the favorites.
Definitely beloved. Edward starts as this charismatic, ambitious Welsh privateer, turns pirate basically to make his fortune in the West Indies, get rich quick.
Not exactly assassin material at first.
Not at all. In 1715, he accidentally kills this assassin, Duncan Walpole, and sees an opportunity. He takes Walpole's identity, goes to a meeting of Templars in Havana, pretending to be him, just trying to get paid.
Bold move.
Incredibly bold. And it throws him right into the middle of the Assassin-Templar War. He learns the Templars are hunting for something called the Observatory.
The observatory, what's that?
An Isu installation, super advanced surveillance tech. It can locate anyone on Earth just from a drop of their blood.
Whoa, ultimate spying tool. Perfect for Templars.
Exactly. So for years, Edward is just playing both sides, trying to get his hands on the observatory for the money, the power. He becomes a major player in the pirate world, helps establish the Pirate Republic in Nassau, hangs out with Blackbeard, Mary Read, Anne Bonny, all the legends.
Living the pirate dream.
For a while. But it all falls apart. Betrayals, friends dying, the dream collapsing. It hardens him, makes him see things differently. He finally realizes the value of the Assassin's Creed, what they're actually fighting for.
So he joins them. For real this time.
He does. Formally joins the Brotherhood, mentored by the Mayan assassin Altaïr, dedicates himself to stopping the Templars. He succeeds, thwarts their plan, kills the sage controlling the observatory, Bartholomew Roberts, and seals the place up again.
Okay, good ending for him.
Mostly. He finds out his wife back in Wales died, but he has a daughter, Jennifer. So he retires from piracy in 1722, sails back to London to raise her. Eventually has a son, too, Haytham Kenway. But tragedy finds him again. Years later, he's murdered in his London home by Templar mercenaries, his past caught up, left his kids vulnerable.
Haytham Kenway. And this is where the twist comes in, right? Edward's own son ends up on the other side, leading the charge against the assassins.
It's one of the most compelling, tragic twists in the whole saga. We're now in the mid-18th century, 1752 to 1763. The 7 Years' War is brewing, and this is a dark, dark time for the colonial assassins, almost total annihilation. And yes, ironically, led by Edward's son, Haytham.
How did that happen? How does an assassin's son become a Templar?
Manipulation. After Edward's murder, a high-ranking Templar named Reginald Birch takes young Haytham under his wing, twists the narrative, makes Haytham believe the Templar way is his father's true legacy. Haytham becomes this incredibly skilled, dedicated Templar. In 1754, he travels to the American colonies. His mission, find an EC temple. He sets up the colonial rite of the Templar Order, recruits powerful people, really cements Templar control there. And during this time, he has a brief relationship with a Kanyan Kanana woman, Kanani Tarayo. They have a son, Ratanan Haki-Datayo.
Connor, setting up that future conflict.
Precisely. But before Connor's story starts, the Templars, led by Haytham, score a massive victory, chronicled in Assassin's Creed, Rogue.
Shay Cormac's story, the assassin who turns Templar.
Exactly. Shay is this promising but kind of rebellious young assassin recruit in the Colonial Brotherhood, mentored by Achilles Davenport. In 1755, Achilles sends Shay to Lisbon to retrieve an Isu artifact.
That goes wrong.
Horribly wrong. Shay touches the artifact and it triggers this precursor device, causes a massive earthquake, destroys Lisbon, kills thousands.
Oh my God.
Shay is horrified, racked with guilt, and he realizes the assassins knew this could happen. A similar event occurred years before in Haiti, but Achilles brushed it off. Shay confronts Achilles, begs him to stop chasing these dangerous Isu sites.
What does Achilles say?
He refuses. Him and the other senior assassins, they're convinced these sites are the key to stopping the Templars, despite the danger. Shay can't accept it. He believes they'll just cause more destruction. So he makes this agonizing choice.
Betray them.
He steals the manuscript that maps out the temple locations, trying to stop them. There's a confrontation at the assassin headquarters, the Davenport homestead. Shay gets cornered, shot, falls off a cliff into the sea. Presumed dead.
But he survives.
Rescued by Templars, nursed back to health. And over the next few years, guided by Haytham Kenway, Shay joins the Templar cause. Believing he's preventing further disasters, he uses his assassin skills to hunt down his former brothers, systematically. Kills the leaders of the Colonial Brotherhood, including his best friend, Liam. By 1763, the Brotherhood is basically wiped out in the colonies.
Devastating. What happens to Achilles?
Shay and Haytham confront him at one last site in the Arctic. Haytham shoots Achilles in the leg, crippling him, but spares his life at Shay's request. Leaves him broken, living with his failure. It's a huge win for the Templars, achieved because an assassin defected. And it raises that tough question for you, the listener. Was Shay right? Was his fear justified? Were the assassins being too reckless, causing harm? It's a real gray area.
A powerful moral question. Okay, so the Colonial Brotherhood is shattered. Achilles is broken. But from those ashes, a new assassin rises, fueled by tragedy, fighting for revolution, and destined to clash with his own father.
Connor's time. Assassin's Creed III. We follow Ratona Hake.Putton, son of Haytham, and Kani.At.io. His story starts with tragedy, too. 1760, his village is burned down, his mother killed. He believes it was ordered by Charles Lee, a Templar.
Atham's right-hand man.
Exactly. Years later, he gets this vision from Juno, the Isu consciousness. She guides him to the last assassin left standing, Achilles Davenport.
The broken mentor.
Right. Embittered, crippled, living alone. But he takes Raton and Hucky, Dutton in, trains him, gives him the Western name Connor to help him blend in.
So Connor becomes an assassin. What's his goal?
Rebuild the Brotherhood, yes, but also fight for his people, the Kanyan Keha, and for the freedom of the colonists during the American Revolution. He gets deeply involved, often behind the scenes, key battles like Bunker Hill, working with figures like George Washington, Paul Revere.
Unsung hero of the Revolution.
Pretty much. But his main mission, dismantle the colonial Templar right, which means confronting his father, Hatham.
Father versus son. We should also mention Aveline here, right?
Absolutely. Parallel story. Assassin's Creed III, Liberation. Set in 18th century New Orleans, Aveline de Grandpré, French-African assassin, fighting Templars exploiting the slave trade down there. Her story eventually crosses over with Connor's, showing the conflict was happening everywhere.
So how does it play out between Connor and Hatham?
They actually form this uneasy alliance for a while. A common enemy unites them briefly, but their core beliefs, Hatham's order versus Connor's liberty, are just too different. Irreconcilable. It leads to this heartbreaking showdown where Connor is forced to kill his own father.
Wow.
He eventually kills Charles Lee too, fulfilling his initial quest for vengeance. He secures an Isu key, which is important for the modern-day plot, but he ends up deeply disillusioned. The new United States government, the one he fought for, it betrays its promises to his people, forces them off their land.
So victory, but at a huge cost.
Exactly. If you connect it to the bigger picture, Connor's story shows that even when you win the fight for freedom, it can come with this complex, heartbreaking price. Makes you question what liberty truly means and if it's ever really achieved for everyone. A pretty somber end to that era.
From the birth of the U.S. through that intense family drama, the Assassin Templar War just keeps adapting, doesn't it? Shaping huge global events. The French Revolution's reign of terror, the Industrial Revolution in London, even 20th century upheavals. It's like this hidden thread woven through everything.
It really is. The conflict just morphs to fit the times. Which brings us to the French Revolution, 1789 to 1794, Assassin's Creed unity.
Arnaud Dorian's story.
Right. Arnaud's a French-Austrian nobleman, and his father, Charles Dorian, assassin, who was murdered back in 1776 at Versailles.
By Chez Cormac, at the end of Rogue.
Exactly. Small world, right. So young Arnaud gets adopted by the Grand Master of the Parisian Templars, François de Lasserre, unknowingly raised by his father's enemies.
Talk about complicated family dynamics.
Tell me about it. Years later, de Lasserre himself is murdered, part of a coup within the Templar Order. Arnaud gets framed for it, thrown into the Bastille.
Where he meets
An assassin, Master Assassin Bayek, who recruits him. Arnaud escapes during the storming of the Bastille, joins the Parisian Brotherhood. His goal is vengeance for his adoptive father, redemption. But it's messy, because he's in love with Elise de Lasserre.
de Lasserre's daughter, a Templar.
A dedicated Templar, yeah. They end up working together, uncovering this conspiracy led by a radical Templar faction. Their leader is François Thomas Germain, and guess what?
Oh, yes. A sage?
Bingo. Another reincarnation of Ezio. Germain's trying to use the revolution's chaos plus the Sword of Eden to purge the Templar Order and remake society his way. Ruthless.
How does it end?
Germain is eventually killed, and it leads to this fragile, temporary truce between Arnaud and the remaining Templars. Both sides kind of realize the horrific cost of unchecked extremism, a bloody lesson learned.
Okay, from the guillotine to the factory floor, the hidden war shifts again, finding new battlegrounds in the smog and innovation of the Industrial Revolution.
Victorian London, 1868. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's the height of industry, London's booming. But it's also incredibly corrupt, unequal, and basically owned by the Templar Grandmaster Crawford Starrick.
Starrick, he controlled everything.
Through industry, through crime, yeah. He had the city locked down. Until the Fry twins arrive.
Jacob and Evie.
Twin assassins. They come to London against orders, determined to liberate the city.
And they have different approaches, right?
Very different. Jacob is the brash one, action-oriented, impulsive. His plan, build a street gang, the Rooks, take on the Templar gangs controlling the underworld head-on. Chaos ensues.
And Evie.
She's the planner. Studious, stealthy, strategic, often cleaning up Jacob's messes. Her focus is finding a piece of Eden, the Shroud of Eden, an artifact that can heal any injury. She thinks it's the key to stopping Starrick and keeping it safe.
Do they succeed?
They do, with help from historical figures like Charles Darwin, Alexander Graham Bell, Karl Marx, kind of a motley crew. Their combined efforts bring down Stark's empire, kill him, free London.
And there's that WWI bit, too.
Yeah, a cool segment where you play as Jacob's granddaughter, Lydia Fry, during World War I, protecting London from German spies, taking down another Templar cell led by, guess who, another sage. Shows the fight never really stops. The Isu influence keeps popping up.
Okay, so beyond London and Paris, the Chronicles games fill in some gaps globally, right? And they connect to the modern story in important ways.
Hugely important connections, yeah. The Chronicles games are vital for understanding the bigger picture.
Like Xiaojun in China.
Right. China, 1526. Xiaojun returns after training with Old Man Ezio, her mission, rebuild the Chinese Brotherhood, which was decimated, and get revenge on the 8 Tigers, Templars controlling the Ming court. Crucially, she recovers the precursor box.
The box, what does that do?
It's an ESO artifact that can store and transmit memories. Becomes really important later.
Okay, then India.
India, 1841. Sikh Empire versus the East India Company. We follow Assassin Brotherhood trying to recover the Koh-i-Noor diamond, another piece of Eden from the Templars, while protecting his lover. And his story connects directly to the lineage of peace.
Henry Green.
From Syndicate.
Exactly. J. Deepmere, a.k.a. Henry Green, shows how these assassin families span generations and continents.
In Russia.
Russia, 1918. Post-revolution chaos. Chronicles, Russia. Assassin Nikolai Orlov is on his last mission. Rescue Grand Duchess Anastasia Romanova.
The Anastasia.
Yep. And here's the shocker. Anastasia somehow possesses Xiaojun's memories, imprinted on her by that precursor box Nikolai had. They're hunted by Bolsheviks, Templars. It's messy.
Wow, how does all this lead to the modern day?
These threads converge tragically in the event known as the Great Purge around the year 2000. Nikolai Orlov's descendant, Daniel Cross. He's unknowingly a Templar sleeper agent, brainwashed since childhood.
Oh no.
Abstergo activates him. He's manipulated into finding the location of the current assassin mentor and killing him in cold blood. It's devastating, cripples the Brotherhood worldwide. If you connect this to the bigger picture, this is why the assassins are so scattered, operating in tiny, isolated cells when the modern Desmond Miles story begins. They're on the verge of extinction because of this purge. And finally, after millennia of this shadow war, after that devastating purge leaves the Brotherhood crippled, the ancient conflict just erupts into our present day, anchoring all that incredible history into this high-stakes modern storyline. This is where it all comes home.
Exactly. The modern day is the frame, the anchor for everything. And it's evolved through 3 main phases, 3 protagonists. First up, the Desmond Miles saga. Kicks off in 2012.
Desmond, just a bartender, right?
Yep, just a regular guy. Until he gets abducted by Abstergo Industries, the Templar front company. They strap him into the Animus, this machine that reads genetic memories, force him to relive the life of his ancestor.
Altaïr.
Right, because Abstergo, led by Dr. Warren Vidic, wants a map of Piece of Eden locations that Altaïr supposedly found. While he's trapped, Desmond finds these cryptic messages left by the guy before him, Subject 16.
Clay Kesmack.
Right? And Desmond starts experiencing the bleeding effect.
Where he absorbs his ancestors' skills.
Exactly. Eagle vision, fighting skills. It's like the Animus is involuntarily training him for a war he doesn't even know he's part of yet.
So how does he get out?
Rescued by a small assassin cell. Sean Hastings, the historian, Rebecca Crane, the tech expert, and Lucy Stillman, who was undercover at Abstergo.
Lucy's.
They take him to a hideout, put him in their Animus, Animus 2.0. His mission now, train, become a modern assassin by reliving the memories of his most important ancestor.
It's the Auditor.
Right. And through Ezio's memories, they learn about the Isu, the pieces of Eden, and that warning from Minerva about the second great catastrophe, the solar flare hitting Earth on December 21st, 2012.
So the goal shifts. It's not just finding artifacts anymore.
It's saving the world. They need to find Ezio's apple and then find the grand temple that Isu Vault Minerva mentioned, which supposedly holds the key to stopping the flare.
Do they find the apple?
They do, under the Colosseum in Rome, right where Ezio hid it. But then, Juno interferes.
Juno, the Isu consciousness trapped in the network.
Yeah. She uses the apple's power to control Desmond. Forces him to stab Lucy.
Telling her why.
Because in that moment, it's revealed Lucy was a Templar double agent all along. She would have taken the apple straight back to Abstergo.
No way. That was a huge shock.
Massive. The trauma sends Desmond into a coma. His father, William Miles, who's actually the current assassin mentor, finds him, puts him back in the Animus core, the Black Room, to try and repair his shattered mind. Inside, Desmond meets the stored consciousness of Subject 16, who helps him put the pieces back together.
Okay, so he wakes up.
Wakes up, fully trained, fully aware. He travels with his dad, Sean, and Rebecca to the Grand Temple hidden in New York. Inside, Juno and Minerva appear again.
The final choice.
The impossible choice. Minerva says activating the temple's device will save the world, but it'll also unleash Juno, who wants to enslave humanity. Minerva argues, let the world burn, let the few survivors rebuild, free from Isu control.
Marsh. What does Juno say?
Juno argues her rule is the only way to guarantee survival. Control versus annihilation. Desmond. He can't let billions die. He says goodbye to his father, activates the device, sacrifices his life.
Creating the shield. Saving the world.
Saving the world from the flare, yes. But his final act also does exactly what Juno wanted. Unleashes her consciousness fully into the global network. A heroic sacrifice, but with a terrifying consequence.
So Desmond saves the world, but releases Juno, and opens up new problems for the Templars too, right? What happens next?
Right. Post-Desmond, Abstergo gets his body.
Yeah.
And they use his DNA for Abstergo Entertainment, turning genetic memories into video games and movies via the Helix software. Clever, insidious way to gather more data.
And the player character shifts.
Yeah. In Black Flag, you're an anonymous research analyst at Abstergo Entertainment exploring Edward Kenway's memories, but you get contacted by the Assassins. Sean and Rebecca are still out there and become their mole. Hacking Abstergo, finding info.
What are they looking for?
Information about sages, those Aida reincarnations, and, crucially, trying to stop Juno from finding a physical body. Because if her digital consciousness gets a host, that's game over.
So the player becomes an initiate.
In Rogue and Unity, yeah. You're an initiate, using the Helix system, still feeding info to the Assassins, trying to find sage bodies before Juno can. This whole fight against Juno and her cult, the instruments of the First Will, it mostly gets resolved in the Assassin's Creed, Uprising comics.
Ah, okay. So it's resolved outside the main games.
Primarily, yeah. The comics show how a team of assassins, including Desmond's son, Elijah, who is also a sage, complicating things, massively managed to defeat Juno. They destroy the body she was trying to create, seemingly ending her direct threat.
Okay, so Juno's dealt with. A big win.
A huge modern-day win against an ancient Isu threat, yeah. Seems like humanity might get a breather for a bit.
But the war's never really over, is it? A new protagonist arrives with a different kind of animus, finds even deeper secrets, leading to maybe the most startling twist yet.
And that brings us to Layla Hassan, the latest saga. Starts in 2017 with Origins. Layla's this brilliant but kind of rogue researcher at Abstergo, and she invents her own portable Animus.
Portable. And different how? Groundbreakingly different. It can read genetic memories from any DNA sample, not just from direct ancestors. Opens up huge possibilities.
So she can explore anyone's memories.
If she has their DNA, yeah. She defies Abstergo orders, goes to Egypt, uses it on Bayek and Aya's remains. Abstergo sends a kill squad after her, but thanks to the bleeding effect from using her Animus, she fights them off. William Miles contacts her, recruits her to work with the Assassins. Though she's reluctant to formally join, values her independence.
Okay, so where does her quest lead? Odyssey.
Odyssey, yeah. She's hunting Isu artifacts, finds the Spear of Leonidas, uncovers Cassandra's history, and this leads her to Atlantis, where she meets Cassandra herself, still alive.
After 2,000 years.
Because of the staff.
The staff of Hermes Trismegistus. Cassandra declares Layla the prophesied one, passes the staff to her, and then finally dies, her long watchover.
Lila gets the staff. That seems dangerous.
It is. The staff's power starts to corrupt her, makes her more aggressive. She even tragically kills her friend, Victoria, in a moment of stress. Shows the immense danger and burden of that Isu power.
Okay, so Valhalla. What's the crisis now?
2020. A new global disaster looming. Remember Desmond's shields stabilized the Earth's magnetic field? Well, now it's going haywire again, intensifying dangerously, threatening another catastrophe, a lingering effect from the 2012 flare.
Always something. How does Layla get involved?
She gets a mysterious message, guiding her and the team Sean and Rebecca to Ivor's burial site in New England. Layla figures Ivor's memories must hold the key. So she goes into her Animus one more time, searching for answers at that Isu Yggdrasil temple Ivor found in Norway.
The supercomputer tree thing.
Right. Layla travels there in the present day, protected from the lethal radiation by the staff. She interfaces with the Yggdrasil machine and succeeds. Stabilizes the magnetic field, saves the world again.
There's always a but.
The biggest but yet. Stabilizing the field traps Layla's consciousness inside this digital dimension called the Gray. Her physical body dies, and the act of her using the machine, it frees the entity who sent her the message in the first place.
Who sent it?
Basim, Loki. His consciousness was trapped in Yggdrasil since Ivar put him there back in 878 CE. Layla freed him.
No way.
Yeah. Inside the Grey, Layla meets this glowing figure called the Reader, strongly hinted to be Desmond's consciousness, preserved somehow. He's analyzing infinite timelines, trying to find a way to stop humanity's ultimate extinction. Layla chooses to stay, help him calculate, sacrifices herself for that bigger mission.
And Basim.
Loki. He walks out of the Yggdrasil device in the 21st century, holding the staff of Hermes, a living Isu from the 9th century, fully corporeal, right here, right now. He meets Sean and Rebecca, asks to see William Miles, and then gets into Lila's Animus himself, apparently searching for his own reincarnated Isu family.
That is unbelievable. An actual Isu walking around in the modern day.
It's a game changer. If you connect that to the bigger picture, it's this massive, unprecedented shift. It fundamentally changes everything. The stakes for the Assassins, the Templars, for all of humanity. They're completely different now. The wars come full circle, but the players are ancient, powerful, and have agendas we can barely comprehend.
Wow. What an absolute incredible journey we've just been on. From the Isu, the first catastrophe, through millennia of the human history, empires rising and falling, the hidden ones becoming assassins, the Templars evolving, Altaïr, Ezio, the Genoese, all leading to this.
Yeah.
Resurrected Isu walking among us. It's mind-blowing. A history way stranger than fiction.
And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? From beings mistaken for gods, precursor races, ancient artifacts, to modern corporations, digital ghosts, reincarnated deities, the fundamental struggle remains: free will versus control. But it keeps evolving, twisting in ways nobody could have predicted. And like you said, with Basim's return, that line between myth and reality, past and present, it's never been blurrier. What does that even mean for humanity's future, now that players from the first civilization are literally back on the board playing their own ancient games?
It's definitely a question that needs its own deep dive, maybe several. Well, thank you for joining us on this particular deep dive into the incredible hidden history of Assassin's Creed. We really hope this journey leaves you truly well-informed, maybe a little mind-blown, and definitely eager to keep exploring this amazing, intricate world for yourselves.